Hey, we're here in Budapest, Hungary with our senior women's sports medicine manager, Larnie Boquiren. We have Drew Kloop behind the camera here, our coach education manager for USA Water Polo. Been embedded here with the team through the course of the week. And Larnie, your role as senior women's sports medicine manager here is an integral part of our performance, an integral part of what the team is doing. So our hope here is if you could share with our coaches back home some of the things that you do over the course of being with the team to help reach our highest levels of performance. So specifically here, we've been in Budapest now for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's a shade under 2 weeks. Gold medal game is in a few hours. Later tonight against Italy, winner gets to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics for spot. So what are some of the things over the last couple of weeks while being here in Budapest that you've done with the team to help them reach this level?
For the most part, during tournaments, it's nice because the team is together in a hotel. We don't have to drive anywhere, and everyone's accessible. So my role is to try and sustain what we've been doing at home. One, in terms of fueling, so whether it be post-game, pre-game fueling or post-game fueling and hydration, trying to carry that from what we do at home to here, in addition to post-game, post-lifts, and communicating with our strength and conditioning coach in terms of certain athletes and what's going to go on for the day, whether the team is with whoever I'm doing a treatment with, if they're having any particular issues, or if I've worked with them and felt any type of restrictions, certain things to look out for while they're doing their movements in the lifts. And then my day-to-day care is basically a lot of manual work, hands-on stuff, a lot of myofascial stretching with the athletes. And for the most part, I'm always in the mindset of everyone needs to be ready. So that puts everyone in the roster of importance and priority, and that means scheduling them, whether it's every other day, and filling in the gaps with other athletes as well. And other big part of my role is recovery. We know that back home our time period of recovery is very short. And here we are given a little bit more time, but the education, the onus of the athletes is to take advantage of that time. So it could be whether it's from icing, using some of the modalities that we travel with, which is a Normatec or a Compex or a Game Ready. Those are the things that we try to sustain from what we have at home to bring it here on the road.
When you say recovery, I hear you say this a lot when we're around the team, that recovery never stops.
It never stops.
Can you explain that to coaches back home? What does it mean to say that recovery never stops?
Yeah, I mean, on the road, it all starts with that flight, and the flight is, are the athletes prepared? We invest in our travel in terms of providing our athletes with compression tights from when we travel, to travel compression socks, to when we land, how are they sleeping, are they getting enough sleep, to the hours that they're fueling. Sometimes when it's late at night and we're eating and they don't get to sleep till or wind down until midnight, 1 o'clock. And so we have those conversations and those check-ins. And for the most part, our athletes are pretty experienced on what works well for them. And the other piece is the management of illnesses. So we have athletes coming from college, they have finals, they have things like that. Their body hasn't traveled internationally in a while. So how do we kick it in the butt before it kicks everybody in the butt?
Yeah.
So we try to do our best to keep things at bay. Big things, washing our hands and hydration, and all those good things to sustain our recovery.
That makes sense. So here we are preparing for the gold medal game tonight, right? All these things kind of got us here. maybe help us and coaches back home bookend how this all works, right? So there's obviously a lot of work that had to be done before we ever set foot on the plane to get to Budapest, and then we'll fly home tomorrow, and then start preparing immediately for World Championships in Korea, and then the Pan American Games in August in Lima, Peru.
Yeah.
Talk about what's going to happen, what happened before, and maybe what's going to happen afterwards when we're home.
Yeah, so all of this leading up to this point, it's just been a lot of preparation. So that means communication with the team behind the team. So that's our sports nutritionist, that's our doctors, that's our strength and conditioning coach, our coaches and our athletes. And in terms of our nutritionists, we're talking about, what periods of time in our training are we going to kind of evaluate and assess hydration, to educate the athlete in the sense like this is where you're at and this is where you need to be. Especially like if we're not hydrating very well, then how do we attack that before we get here? The other piece is looking at movements. We know that athletes are coming from different areas, from the professional teams overseas, from the collegiate teams, and some kind of taking a different, not a lot of water polo. So the communication is then communication with the athlete of where their body's at, their level of fitness, and kind of assessing a little bit in conversations with our strength and conditioning coach of, what's our goals during these trainings, because you can really, I feel at this point it's about workload management, and not, it's such a meaningful tournament, but at the same time, they don't need to be at this peak level.
We're not peaking
We're
here.
not peaking here.
Right,
It's you have to appreciate that the process is you meet them where they are, and where you want to be. So really looking at really kind of accepting of our, even in our professional roles, accepting that this is where we're at, but also knowing we're not looking for a peak fitness, because that can really create a lot more work for me in the long run. Not to make it about that, but it's about how do we sustain the athlete throughout this period of time. And that comes from the coach, and that's where those conversations with the coaches are. I think for me, in conversations with Adam is, what's our high level intensity, what's our medium level intensity, and so how I look at that is our weight program is going to correlate with what's happening in the water, and then when that correlation happens, I know that more recovery is going to happen on those days. I'm fortunate to have a team that works with me, of massage therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists, that help sustain my role back home. But I know when on the road, it's really just me, and so I try to get them to a good place before we leave, and try to sustain that. But at the same time, if anything acute erupts, we have a plan already in place to kind of move forward and execute that plan. And a large part is that communication with our athletes of what they're experiencing, and my thing is that they have to commit to it as well.
Well, it sounds like really, in explaining your role, you're a nexus point for a lot of people that we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So really where you're sitting, head coach, communication with the head coach is crucial, right, to everything that's going on, and understanding the process in general. The strength and conditioning coach, right, to understand what's happening in the weight room and what fitness level they're working on at the moment in the process. Doctors, chiropractors, any other wellness people that need to be involved here. Maybe we didn't mention nutrition, right? Working with a nutritionist, you talked about fueling before and after, and then of course the athletes. So really you become a nexus point of a lot of information that's coming your way, and then you will navigate these athletes while they're trying to peak in their performance or deal with the process where they're at.
And then when we get back home, it's another reevaluation, and I'll sit with some of the girls. I'm setting a plan for their days off, and then setting a plan of who they need to see, what's our game plan when we get back home, and setting schedules so that I'm a big believer in consistency leads to success, and so if they're committed to that, I think everything else will kind of fall into place, no matter how slow or fast it may be. But it's also the big challenge of maybe not today,
Right.
but as a healthcare provider, I need to be aware of that as well, because I think part of that recovery is their time away from water polo, and being understanding of that, because if treatment and things like that cause them stress, it's not supposed to be that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that consistency becomes really important. So speaking of that, one of the things that we value in our Olympic development program and our high performance programming in general is preaching to athletes and treating athletes so that they can play water polo for the rest of their lives. We want water polo to be a part of their life forever, and want them to play forever. What are some pieces of advice that you have for coaches and athletes back home that can help that longevity and consistency in the sport for as long as possible?
Yeah. I think it's keeping it simple. I think when people think of the national team, I think it's certainly a special place and environment to be in. But at the same time, I don't think it's anything different from what happens in an academy training or even a club training or a high school. I think the difference is the details and how much work goes into the details. So with that said, if it's about nutrition, it's the simples of, and I understand, when you think about a high school athlete, there's so many things that they're in. They're in a play, they're playing a different sport, they're taking piano lessons or whatnot, which is all great, but there's the preparation for doing that. So if the keys of making sure you have hydration, you're getting enough sleep, I think those are really keys. And the details into that is the quality of that. Are you still on your cell phone? Are you still on Instagram or on your computer or being simulated in that way?
Late in the night.
Other is feeling wise is are you prepared in your hydration? Do you have your own water bottle? Do you have fueling for after training? Are you fueling before training? If you're not, well, what's going to work best for you?
Right.
So I don't think there's any excuses of time. It's all about preparation. And I don't think there's any excuses about any type of environment. Again, it's about preparation. So, funny story is when I got here, I don't think a lot of people hydrated. I didn't just see it.
Yeah.
Hydration is a habit. And so it took some time to kind of create that habit. And what I kind of did was I just started putting the water bottles out. And if they didn't drink it, that's okay. But they did see it. If they did see it and they drank it, maybe they got a positive reward out of it.
Yeah.
And so the water bottle out is a cue of I should be drinking. And then when they drink it, they get a reward. So now when I put the water bottles out and they ask for it, it's become a habit. And so that's kind of that's the same thing, if in creating those good habits of sleeping well, you're not going to have a good habit if you're going to be on your cell phone texting. You're not going to have a good habit if you don't prep for some type of fueling after training. Put that bar in your bag for after training so that it just becomes that habit in the morning. So I think that's one thing.
It'd be helpful if we start building these habits at a young age, right?
Yeah.
So by the time they got to you and the senior team, they're ready to go.
Yeah. I live off spreadsheets and checklists, and that's basically how I see my role. But just before, again, it's just all that preparation that happens beforehand. It's such a big group to manage, so it's just making sure that that all of those check boxes are crossed off, and then it becomes about the execution. It won't be executed if I leave our fueling in my hotel room. That's my part of my job.
What you do. Yeah, and I think it's interesting. Some of the things you're talking about, keeping it simple, really don't require a lot of money, don't require a lot of resources, right? Staying hydrated, getting good sleep, getting good nutrition, these things can be done anywhere and everywhere. I really appreciate the fact that what we're doing here at the senior team level can really be replicated in a lot of places, right? Regardless of resources and environment. So, yeah. Thanks for sharing, Larnie, with everything that we're doing, and go USA.
Go USA.